Looking for magic cards? At flipsidegaming.com you can now use the promo code LVD to get a 10% discount on orders over $10, and starting from now you also get entered into the Guilds of Ravnica booster box giveaway, which runs until October 5th. Hello and welcome to another Patreon bonus video. This time we're taking a look at a blue-green clue deck in Modern. So we're playing with a whole bunch of cards that have the Investigate mechanic from Shadows over Innistrad, prime example being Tireless Tracker, a 3-mana 3/2 that says whenever a land enters a battlefield under our control, we get to investigate, which means we get an artifact token called a clue that we can sacrifice for 2 mana to draw a card. And in the case of Tireless Tracker, if we sacrifice a clue, we also get to put a +1/+1 counter on her. So besides drawing us extra cards, we can also use those clues in combination with Tamiyo's Journal, a 5-mana legendary artifact that lets us investigate at the beginning of our upkeep, and we can also tap the journal and sacrifice 3 clue tokens to search our library for any card to put into our hand. So we can use Tamiyo's Journal to assemble our infinite combo, which is Doubling Season combined with a Jace, Cunning, Castaway. So Doubling Season is a 5-mana enchantment that lets us double up all the counters we get and double up all the tokens we get. So Doubling Season also synergizes nicely with the Investigate mechanic, since whenever we investigate, we get twice the number of clue tokens, and in the case of Tireless Tracker, we also get twice the number of +1/+1 counters. And then if we take a closer look at Jace, Cunning, Castaway, a 3-mana Planeswalker that starts at 3 loyalty, but if we have a Doubling Season in play, our Planeswalkers will enter the battlefield with twice as many loyalty counters on them, so Jace would start at 6 loyalty with a Doubling Season in play. The +1 ability lets us loot whenever we can connect with a creature. Then the -2 ability makes a 2/2 illusion token, so if we have a Doubling Season in play we would get 2 of those tokens. And then the -5 ability, which we can activate right away if we played Jace with a Doubling Season in play, lets us make 2 tokens of Jace, Cunning, Castaway that aren't affected by the legendary rule. So with Doubling Season in play we actually get 4 of those tokens instead, so we can make however many tokens of Jace, Cunning, Castaway as we want, and then eventually we can -2 most of those Jaces as well to make all the 2/2 illusion tokens that we want, and then on the following turn we can attack with an infinite number of them to win the game. So that's the combo finish that we have available in our deck through Tamiyo's Journal, but let's take a look at the rest of the deck, starting out with our 1-drops, where we have 4 copies of Serum Visions, giving us a bit of card selection so we can find our key Investigate cards and maybe look for a Tamiyo's Journal. We also have 4 copies of Confront the Unknown, which is a 1-mana instant that lets us investigate, so we get a clue token, and then target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each clue token we control, so it can also be a nice bump spell or finisher if we have a whole bunch of clue tokens in play. Then we have a whole bunch of mana creatures, since we do need a lot of mana to sacrifice all those clues to get ahead on cards and to cast our more expensive spells like Tamiyo's Journal. So we've got 3 copies of Elvish Mystic and 3 copies of Llanowar Elves that tap to add green mana, and then we also have 4 copies of Noble Hierarch, which taps for green, blue and white mana, and also has Exalted. So if we attack with a single creature, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each instance of Exalted. Then we get to our 2-drops, where we have 4 copies of Erdwal Illuminator, a 2-mana 1/3 spirit with flying that says whenever we investigate for the first time each turn, we get to investigate an additional time, so that's a great way to generate extra clue tokens. And the 1/3 flying body is also very nice with our next card, Ongoing Investigation, a 2-mana enchantment that says whenever 1 or more creatures we control deal combat damage to a player, we get to investigate. And then the second ability, for 1 and a green, we can exile a creature card from our graveyard to investigate and gain 2 life. So the flying body on Illuminator is perfect for enabling the investigation, and also the fact that we have all those mana creatures will help with enabling investigation to make extra clue tokens. Next up we have our Jace, which we've already covered. We also have 2 copies of Graf Mole, a 3-mana 2/4 creature that says whenever we sacrifice a clue, we gain 3 life, so that's a great way to stay alive while we can still sacrifice our clues and get ahead on cards. And then of course we've got our 4 copies of Tireless Tracker, which is great in this deck since we've got all those mana creatures, so we can pretty reliably play Tireless Tracker on turn 2, and then on turn 3 we can play something like a fetch land, make 2 clues right away, and start getting ahead on cards that way. And of course Tireless Tracker also just a great creature to close out the game with if we don't have the combo finish available. And then we've got our 3 copies of Tamiyo's Journal and our Doubling Season. Then taking a look at our mana base, I've already mentioned fetch lands, we've got 8 of them, we've got 4 Misty Rainforests and 4 Windswept Heaths, so those will trigger our Tireless Tracker twice. We also have 4 copies of Field of Ruin, which we can use to destroy opposing non-basic lands and get a basic ourselves, so this will also help us trigger Tireless Tracker an additional time. Then we have 6 basic forests and 2 basic islands which we can search up, as well as 2 breeding pools which counts as both a forest and an island, and 2 Hinterland Harbors which enter battlefield untapped as long as we control an island or a forest. Then going over the sideboard, we have 2 copies of Dispel to counter instants, 3 Nature's Claims to deal with artifacts and enchantments, can deal with Stony Silence, which would prevent us from sacrificing our clues, 2 Dismembers as removal, a Negate for non-creature spells, an additional Graf Mole against the more aggressive creature decks, and then we get to our transformational sideboard plan, which is 4 copies of Shape Anew combined with 2 copies of Blightsteel Colossus. So Shape Anew will remind some people of Polymorph, but instead of having to sacrifice a creature, we have to sacrifice an artifact, and then reveal cards off the top of our deck until we reveal an artifact card, and then put that card into play. So if we take out the 3 main deck copies of Tamiyo's Journal, we don't have any artifacts in our main deck, except of course for all the clue tokens we get through Investigate. And then if we bring in our 2 copies of Blightsteel Colossus, we will guaranteed find it with our Shape Anew if we just sacrifice a clue token, so that can sidestep potential hate cards like Stony Silence. So that's the deck. Now let's jump into some games and see how the deck does. Alright, we're on the draw. How about this hand? It's kind of slow since we don't have any mana creatures, but I think I'll keep it. We've got Illuminator plus Investigation, which is a nice combo. Serum Visions to help us dig for more cards. And our opponent with turn 1 Llanowar Elves. Alright, so let's fetch up a breeding pool here. So if we're up against an elf deck, might be in a bit of trouble since they're pretty fast out of the gate. So we picked up Field of Ruin, and we have the option of Tireless Tracker and Serum Visions. So next turn we probably want to play Illuminator, and the turn after we can play Investigation, start making clue tokens, and with double Graf Mole we actually can gain quite a bit of life. So I don't think we need Tireless Tracker necessarily. I think we were just looking for more lands to help us sacrifice those clues. And we can't really keep Serum Visions since we need our blue mana for Illuminator and then the Investigation. Opponent with a blazing fast start here. Triple Elf into Elvish Visionary. Alright. No Lord yet at least. Hopefully they won't find Azuri or Elvish Archdruid anytime soon. Alright, 3 mana. And it's going to be a Growing Rites of Islamok, which is going to transform right away. And what does it find? Finds Elvish Clankcaller, so yeah, it's also a pretty good one, since it can help them find even more copies of the Clankcaller. So we're pretty slow out of the gate here, sadly. Turn to Illuminator, when the opponent has 8 permanents in play on turn 2. So there's a Clankcaller, which next turn they can activate to find another Clankcaller, but they had a second one in hand anyway. So that's gonna pump up all the elves. And we're not dead yet, but we'll probably die next turn. And I don't think the Graf Mole is gonna save us. Alright, so let's move on to the next one. So do we have anything in the sideboard? Well, this looks like a matchup for Shape Anew and Blightsteel Colossus to speed things along. Dismember can come in to kill one of the key lords they have. And Journal comes out, was going to be too slow anyway. And then Doubling Season and Jace can come out as well. Do want to keep some of our Investigate cards so we can have enough clue tokens for Shape Anew. Could see just cutting the Illuminator since all the mana elves help us speed things along, and then we want to keep all the Investigate cards, I think. And then maybe we can just cut 1 Investigation to make room for 2 Dispels, which can counter Collected Company and Court of Calling. Think that's okay. Don't think we need a 3rd Graf Mole. So our opponent had a very good draw here. Let's see if we can do the same. And, well, we have our Shape Anew. We've got a way to make clue tokens, so this seems like a keep. So turn 1 Elf, turn 2 Tireless Tracker. Turn 3 we can Serum Visions, or if we find a land we can already Shape Anew. Alright, so no land yet, but we're still playing the tracker here, I think. So land would be the best draw, otherwise we'll Serum Visions to look for one. And there's a Clankcaller. Alright, come on, land. And perfect. Make a clue. And Shape Anew, sacking the clue. And that's a turn 3 Blightsteel Colossus, not bad. And we also get to attack with our tracker, because why not? Let's see if our opponent can beat turn 3 Colossus. It's gonna put them in chump block mode right away. Elvish Visionary can chump. And put them to 9 in fact. Let's see if our opponent can beat Colossus. It's definitely possible, since they have a lot of creatures they can chump block with. And our opponent's going off here. Heritage Druid. And there's another Growing Rites. And what does it find? Finds Elvish Archdruid, so that's gonna pump up all their elves. And another Clankcaller as well. Well, our opponent definitely had two very good draws in both games, but they will have to chump block with either the Sentinel or the Clankcaller here. And a Dispel can counter potential Company or Cord. I think that's probably better than casting a Serum Visions here. So we'll attack and send Tracker and Colossus. Opponent chumps. Could have also kept back our Tireless Tracker since we're probably not winning with regular damage, but who knows. So our opponent at 7 Infect. We'll play some more Elves here as blockers. And keep up Dispel. So now our opponent needs to leave back at least 9 toughness to block our Blightsteel Colossus. Opponent can use Itlomok to find more Clankcallers. So yeah, opponent just needs to leave back 2 elves to chump block Colossus here. And they are technically attacking for lethal, so we will have to chump block ourselves. So we had pretty much the best draw we could have had for a sideboarded game here. Just missing a Dismember to maybe take out a Lord. Definitely possible that our opponent doesn't even have Collected Company or Chord of Calling, if they're just relying on Itlomok and the Clankcaller as mana sinks. So kind of regretting that we attacked with our Tireless Tracker last turn. So we'll take 14 down to 6. And a Graf Mole to draw. Alright, so probably just have to cast our Serum Visions here. And Noble Hierarch will keep on top. Bottom Graf Mole. Can play a land, get a clue, sacrifice our clue, draw into Noble Hierarch. And Exalted makes Colossus into a 12/12. And their opponent takes exactly lethal here, since they can put 9 toughness in front of it, and then take 3 infect. And yeah, that does it. Wow, alright. So on to game 3 against Elves. I think we keep our Blightsteel Colossus plan. I think we just got the Dispels. I don't think they're playing Chord or Company. And then just bring in another Graf Mole, I guess, and Investigation just to make extra clue tokens with. Yeah, let's try this. And how about this one? Does not have the Shape Anew, but we do have quite a few fetch lands with Tireless Tracker and Noble Hierarch that can potentially gain a bit of life with the Graf Mole and then hopefully find the Shape Anew at some point. But if our opponent goes off, we probably die before we can assemble everything we need. Just turn to Visionary this time, so not the most explosive turn. Gets in for 1. And we get to play Tireless Tracker. And then we've got a whole bunch of fetch lands in store. Another Visionary, so they can tap all 3 elves now. Make 4 mana. And it's gonna be a Growing Rites. Reveals Jaraga Warcaller. And they don't have another 1 mana play to make here. Alright, let's play our Tracker and then play a fetch land. And we're probably just getting a tap land, so we might as well use a Windswept Heath. And I guess we attack with the Tracker. Might have to win with regular damage. And no real reason to sacrifice the fetch land yet, at least this way we still represent having 1 mana up. There's a Clankcaller. So we can definitely gain a bit of life with our Graf Mole. But usually the Elf deck deals damage in very big increments, so the couple life we gain from Graf Mole, probably not good enough. Alright, opponent's sending in some creatures. So we could block the Elvish Visionary to prevent the Growing Rites from transforming. Don't actually hate that. Since their opponent didn't have a cheap creature to play last turn to transform it, so they might not have one here. Make sure to fetch, get our extra clue, and then just trade. And our opponent unable to transform Growing Right since they lost their 4th creature. More fetch lands, probably just playing a Graf Mole, playing a fetch land, and then we can still sack a clue. So we've got all the clues we could possibly want. Let's get in there with the tracker. So we'll get an island and sacrifice a clue and gain some life with our Graf Mole. And then hope to draw into a Shape Anew. Another Graf Mole's not bad. Alright, well, we'll see how this goes. Opponent must have quite a few expensive cards in hand, given that they couldn't play any 1 or 2 drop in the previous turns. We do know about a Warcaller, which can definitely do some damage here. Alright, our opponent just going all in on this Warcaller, and they'll also get to flip the Growing Rights and find the Serum Visions. Alright, so we've got an interesting turn ahead of us. So we could draw into Shape Anew with Serum Visions, but we don't have the mana to Serum Visions, scry Shape Anew on top, and then draw into it with a clue and still cast it this turn. So I don't think that plan's very realistic. So instead we probably just want to play another Graf Mole, sacrifice a fetch land before doing anything else, so the shuffle from the fetch land doesn't mess up our scry with Serum Visions. And then we can still sacrifice a clue and gain 6 life. And Confront the Unknown, it's not bad with all these clues in play. And we even drew one for the turn. So our opponent unlikely to block our Tireless Tracker here, so we could actually attack for lethal. So let's bottom the Graf Mole, top Confront. And then just attack with our Tireless Tracker. And yeah, opponent's not gonna block, and we're gonna confront for lethal. And that does it. Awesome, managed to beat Mono Green Elves. On to the next one. Alright, we're on the play. And how about this one? Seems okay, we've got a bit of acceleration with the Noble, and then double Illuminator plus Investigations. A pretty nice combo too. So turn 1 Noble. Turn 2, we could even play the Investigation attack with Hierarch and get a clue, but I think getting the Illuminator down is probably better. And we also have a Confront. Let's get a Breeding Pool. Play Illuminator, and probably just attack for 1. Could also play the Confront, get 2 clues right away, but if we play the second Illuminator, we can make an additional one. Opponent with a peek, taking a look at our hand. Double Island into Silvergill Adept. Alright, so it's some form of Merfolk. Reveals Master of the Pearl Trident. Alright, so we'll have to be as fast as possible. Picking up Elvish Mystic is nice. So this turn we can play Mystic. And probably worth it to play the Investigation here. So we get 2 clues as opposed to playing the Illuminator. So we get in for 2. Make 2 clues. So if we draw land, we get to play the Journal. And that can search up the first combo piece, which would have to be our Doubling Season. There's a Master, we already have an Island in play sadly, so Island Walk is turned on. And picked up an Island, great, so now we get to play our Journal. And attack with our Spirits. Make 2 more clues, since we'll need all the clues we can get here with the Journal. Could also maybe go for a different approach and just look for additional copies of Confront the Unknown, just go for damage. Do have a lot of options now with the Journal. So end of turn we'll search up Doubling Season, which will also double the number of clues we get with our Spirit when we attack with it. But our opponent going double Lord here means probably have to change up our strategy, since we won't be able to assemble the infinite combo next turn and still survive. So what are we looking for with our journal? We basically have to win next turn. Could also not search up anything, leave the clues in play to make our Confront better, since maybe the only way we win is if we top deck an additional copy of Confront and just kill the opponent with damage. But I feel like that's probably the best way to go about it here. So let's just double check. Yeah, I think getting another Confront's probably the way to go here. And then hope to top deck another one for the turn, I guess. So we get to investigate an additional time. So because we investigated on our upkeep, now playing the second Illuminator doesn't really accomplish a whole lot. So we might as well Serum Visions. And that's not a Confront, so we'll bottom. So we can play another Noble. Confront. Confront again. So we can attack. And then we can use Tamiyo's Journal to get another Confront. And that should do it. And that's 3 additional damage, so exactly 15. Oof, that was a close one. So drawing the Noble Hierarch definitely did a lot of work here. Oof, so got to steal the game here against Merfolk. What are we going to do? Feel like the Shape Anew Blightsteel Colossus plan is probably worth it. Take out Journals, take out Doubling Season, take out Jace. Cut Illuminator to make room for Dismembers. And yeah, I think we'll try something like this. Don't think an additional Graf Mole is great against the Merfolk deck where all their creatures are unblockable, so gaining life not actually all that relevant. Could also consider Dispel to counter the opponent's counter spells. Yeah, I think we'll try this. How about this hand? Not very good, but we do have a Serum Visions, which can definitely help. So we're just looking for a Shape Anew with this hand, pretty much. I think we mulligan and just look for Shape Anew. Having a Blightsteel in our opening hand is also kind of a mulligan anyway. So we did find Shape Anew, but we only have a 1-lander. But I think on the draw with a Scry, we just have to keep this and then hope for the best. Elvish Mystic is kind of like a land, so I guess we'll keep it. Don't have any blue mana yet, so that's kind of the priority here. So maybe we should have bottomed anyway. But getting to play Mystic on turn 1 is pretty nice. Ooh, wow, our opponent with a gut shot to take out our Mystic. Well, now I definitely regret keeping it on top. Alright, so that was a good turn for the opponent, getting to play Vile and killing our 1-drop. But they seem to be stuck on 1 land. Let's play Forest, say go. So if we had the Mystic, we could have played Tireless Tracker here. Now we have to draw at least 2 lands. So we can go Tracker and then land, get a clue, and then Shape Anew. Definitely possible. And a fetch land will help. And we are getting an island here, so enabling Island Walk. Not much we can do about it. Tracker resolves, so next turn we could potentially Shape Anew if we top deck a land. There's Vile activation with Phantasmal Image copying Tracker. Alright. And a Vapor Snag to bounce ours. That's rude. Let's hope they don't draw a land. Smuggler's Copter, alright. I mean, we do have some time here, not under a ton of pressure, so the Shape Anew plan might work out. And another Tracker to draw. Not what we wanted to see. And then we could still be playing Shape Anew if we top deck a land here. So that's our hope. So we don't really want to be blocking the opposing Tracker if they offer the trade. Another Vapor Snag. Alright, this is getting annoying. Vapor Snag also pretty effective against our Blightsteel Colossus, so I guess might not have been a great plan to start with. But if they spend all the Vapor Snags on our Trackers, I guess that's okay. Alright, so we take 3 down to 9. So we're gonna have to find that land very soon here. Confront can kill the Tireless Tracker, I suppose. Alright, let's Serum Visions first. Did not find a land. Probably bottoming both here. So of course, Tireless Tracker being Phantasmal Image, dies to Confront. Opponent's gonna Aether Vial in response. Another Phantasmal Image, but we have another Confront. Alright, so get rid of both images. But we sadly don't get the clue token since the Confront is countered, since the only legal target has disappeared upon resolution. So we don't get to live the dream of top decking a land and casting Shape Anew next turn. But this does potentially buy us quite a bit of time. Alright, Mutavault can crew the Smuggler's Copter. We do have a flyer to block the Copter for a turn. Discards Gutshot. So we're down to 6. And there's a fetch land, alright. So we can go Tracker into fetch land. And then we're fine if the Tracker dies. And then we can Shape Anew for Colossus. I guess the Copter would kill us in the meantime, so we probably have to play the Illuminator first. We'll see how it plays out here. Yeah, us being at 6 is unfortunate. If we had 1 or 2 more life, things would be different. So Vial activation for 4, so it's going to be a Master of Waves. And now a third image to copy Master of Waves. So they even have enough chum blockers on the ground to survive the Blightsteel Colossus in the first place. And so we probably don't want to show them the Shape Anew, even though after seeing double Vapor Snag, maybe we just want to take out the Shape Anew sideboard plan. Maybe we just bring in Dispels. It's hard to say. So we're down to 3. Let's fetch down to 2, but I don't think we have outs. Ongoing investigation. Yeah, I don't think we want to show them the Shape Anew. But the question is, do we keep it in after seeing double Vapor Snag? Might not be worth it. So we're just gonna pass a turn and then let them kill us. We could have potentially gained 2 life with the investigation here, but that's not gonna make a difference. Alright, so we'll pack it in. Got to see all the opponent's cards. Alright, so this is a tough one. Do we keep in Blightsteel or do we cut it? I think we're still gonna keep it here. And then we'll just bring in 2 Dispels to counter their bounce spells. Illuminator can probably go... can probably cut 1 investigation now. Alright, I think we'll try this. And this hand does not have the Shape Anew, does have Dismember as removal. Bit of selection with Serum Visions. But Blightsteel in our opening hand's kind of like we mulliganed anyway. So let's just be a little greedy here. Alright, this hand's not very good, but we do get to cycle the Confront for an extra draw step and we get a Scry. I guess we keep this. And we keep Dismember. It's definitely a useful card in the matchup, but I think we just have to try and assemble our Shape Anew combo as soon as possible. Let's play Noble. Could have also waited on the Noble, so we can protect it with our Confront in case of a gut shot. Definitely reasonable. Play turn 2 instead, but this gives us more upside if we can find a Tireless Tracker, and they don't have the gut shot. Alright, so no Tireless Tracker, so let's just attack and then Confront, which plays around Gutshot, but I imagine if they had it, they would have used it already. So I don't know if we want to get a Breeding Pool right away, or if we want to hold on to it in case of Island Walk. Opponent didn't play many Lords in the previous game. I guess we also have to consider Phantasmal Image copying our Blightsteel Colossus. So I guess our Shape Anew plan is just bad in this matchup. Yeah, just too many images and Vapor Snags. I think against the normal build of Merfolk you don't see as many images and Vapor Snags, but our opponent just has a build that matches up poorly against it. So yeah, probably should have just taken out the Blightsteel plan after all. Elvish Mystic to draw. So we can attack for 1. Play Mystic and sack a clue. Alright, so pretty tame start on our part. Just some lands and some mana creatures. And we know that if we do top deck a Shape Anew, it's not even guaranteed to work between the Vapor Snags and images. So let's sack a clue. And there it is. Alright, we no longer have our clue, of course. So do need an artifact for it, but do potentially have our combo. Field of Ruin can get rid of Mutavault, should that get activated. But we're not attacking anyways into an Aether Vial on 2. Let's play our Hinterland Harbor, say go. So we just have to wait for opponent to empty their hand of Phantasmal Images and Vapor Snags, and then find an Investigate card to go off. Vial on 2 gets activated, finds a Mastered Pearl Trident, so that they can Island Walk for 3. Can't Field of Ruin our own breeding pool, sadly. I guess getting the breeding pool maybe wasn't necessary given the Noble Hierarch, but I don't think we would be chum blocking, at least not yet. So end of turn we can get rid of Mutavault. Get a forest. And Noble Hierarch to draw. Alright, let's just play another Field of Ruin. Play Noble. And we could attack for 3 here. Probably worth it. Could be that we should have just kept our clue in case we did top deck a Shape Anew, but we've got way more Investigate cards than Shape Anews in our deck. And alright, we did get to bait out a Vapor Snag here, so that's good. And now there's a good chance that if they have Phantasmal Image, they'll just copy their own lords. And there's a Vylon 2 activation, and there's the Phantasmal Image. Alright, copies Master. We're under quite a bit of pressure here, taking 8. I guess we're just dead next turn, so even if we do find an Investigate card, it's gonna be too late. So yeah, getting that breeding pool, probably not necessary. And we did top deck Confront, which is the card we were hoping for. So what's our play? Attack with Elvish Mystic. Opponent takes it, down to 14. So if we use Confront to kill the Master, then we don't get our clue. But if we confront anything else, then we're just dead on board, pretty much. And we technically aren't dead yet if we confront the Phantasmal Image, so probably just have to go for it. But I also don't see how we win going forward, so I think we're just gonna show off the Blightsteel Colossus for fun, see if they had a counterspell. Also didn't realize you could use Shape Anew on the opponent's artifact. And alright, our opponent had a Deprive anyways, so there's no way our plan would have worked. Alright, it's too bad. And they also had another Phantasmal Image, so even had we used Confront on the Master, we would have died this turn anyway. Alright, so pretty interesting games. Sad that we didn't get to pull off the Shape Anew combo, but it probably would have been pretty bad in the face of all those images and Vapor Snags anyway. But I don't think the Tamiyo's Journal plan would have been much better, to be honest. I think Merfolk's just going to be a difficult matchup for us. A creature deck that presents a fast clock backed up with enough disruption to counter our key pieces was going to be difficult to beat. Maybe a Graf Mole plus Tireless Tracker could have gained us enough life and enough cards to get ahead eventually, so maybe that was probably the best plan, but still not great against Vapor Snag and Phantasmal Image, so who knows, on to the next one. Alright, we're on the draw, can't really keep this one, sadly. This one's a lot better. And Investigation... I don't think we want it here. Opponent with turn 1 Fire Drinker Satyr. Alright, I guess we'll run out Llanowar Elves first, since that can block the Fire Drinker technically. Opponent on the red-green, and they are attacking. Suppose they could have a pump spell of some sort, but we kind of want to play Tracker in the same turn that we can play a fetch land, so I think I'm down with the trade. Alright, that worked. And a Rattleclaw Mystic, alright. So far so good, I guess. Can play a Noble into a Windswept Heath, which can fetch a tapped Breeding Pool. And then next turn we can go Tireless Tracker, fetch land, and start drawing some extra cards with our clues. 3 mana for Rage Forger, I see. So opponents on some sort of Shaman deck. Explains the card choices. Let's get a Breeding Pool. And now we get to play a Tracker. Play a fetch land. And I think we fetch right now for a forest. And say go. And now this Confront the Unknown can give our Tracker +3/+3, so a nice giant growth. Burning Tree Emissary, alright. Into another Rage Forger, alright, that starts adding up. Let's see if they get in there. They do. So we take a bunch of damage from those triggers, but we do get to block our Rage Forger now. Alright, get to untap, and there's Tamiyo's Journal, perfect, right on time. So let's play it, make a clue, fetch an island. and play Tamiyo's Journal. And probably can afford to say go here. And by sacking 3 clues at once, we get to put 3 +1/+1 counters on the Tireless Tracker. So that's also something we have to keep in mind. And it's going to be a 3rd Rage Forger, alright. Let's see if our opponent realizes the interaction here. I don't think they did, or they just wanted to push 4 damage. Also possible. But we will happily block. And probably just have to take out a Rage Forger, so those triggers don't burn us out. And then I think we get Doubling Season, but that might be too slow, who knows. We'll have a look here. Alright, so if we get Doubling Season, we get to play it next turn. And then we get to go infinite with Jace the turn after. We're down to 6 already. I mean, I guess that's okay, since we have a forest, so we always have the Noble as a blocker as well. So I think we go for it. And then hope they don't have a 4th Rage Forger or Lightning Bolt to finish us off. And a Field of Ruin to draw. But maybe we can actually kill our opponent here if we get a Confront the Unknown. So if we play Doubling Season, play land, get 2 clues. Then sack 3 with Journal. Get a Confront, put 6 counters on Tireless Tracker, so that's already a 12/12. And then Confront makes 2 more clues. So that would be +4/+4. So that would be 16, so we're a few points short, I guess the 1 Exalted, but we're still 2 points short, I think. So I don't think that line's gonna work. So I think we're better off just using our Noble as a chum blocker in that case. So we'll play the land first, trigger Tireless Tracker, and then play Doubling Season. So we're actually pretty close to just straight up killing our opponent on the spot, which was pretty impressive. But now we just have to hope they don't burn us out, and that we get to go infinite. And we still need to untap a second time once we do go infinite, since we don't get to kill our opponent on the spot. But who knows, maybe we get a Confront anyways, we'll see. And our opponent's gonna send everyone, so we can actually block the Rage Forger here, which is gonna be an issue. And we have to sack the clues now, so our tracker survives. So we have to decide now whether to get Jace or something else. So I don't actually think we can afford to get Jace, because our opponent can deal 2 to us now, down to 2, and then our opponent can just attack again next turn and finishes off. I guess we want to get a Graf Mole here, so we can start getting some life. Alright, that makes sense. So as long as they don't burn us out this turn, we'll be able to gain a bunch of life next turn. So hoping to dodge a Lightning Bolt. Elvish Visionary's fine. Alright, so I guess we're back into it. I thought we were dead, but I forgot about Graf Mole. And a tapped Game Trail. Alright, so we'll investigate, get 2 clues. And this Tireless Tracker is also threatening quite a bit of damage. So we'll play a land, investigate some more. I mean, this is pretty much a forced chum block on the Elvish Visionary. And we also get to gain a ton of life. And our opponent's just gonna pack it in. Alright, sweet. Well, that was a close game there, but Tamiyo's Journal, quite the engine. So is this a matchup where we want to transform into Blightsteel Colossus? It might be, since our opponent might be bringing in cards like Ancient Grudge to destroy our Tamiyo's Journal, and then the Colossus can catch them off guard. So we'll transform again, take out Jace and Doubling Season, and our Journal's Graf Mole seems like a good inclusion. Can probably cut some investigations. Could consider Dismember, but the 4 life definitely hurts. I don't think we actually want Dismember since they don't have 1 key creature, so it's not like a normal Lord where if we kill it, all the problems are solved. So yeah, we'll try this and see if we can steal a game off of Shape Anew. And well, there it is, but 6 lands. No Investigate cards, no ramp. Probably not good enough. This is a lot better. Everything we need pretty much. And definitely bottoming the Blightsteel. Well, this seems like a very good 6. Opponent's off to a slow start with a tapped Rootbound Crag. Let's fetch up a forest. And play a Noble. Say go. And then next turn we could play a Tireless Tracker, but probably better to just go Llanowar Elves plus Confront. And then on turn 3 we're guaranteed to be able to Shape Anew, at least if our creatures survive. And there's a turn 2 Burning Tree, into another Burning Tree, into Spikeshot Elder, so that could potentially mess with our creatures. But I guess we can use Confront as a pump spell to save them. Alright, finding another Noble I guess makes that less of an issue. So my guess is we probably want to Confront main phase, so we don't risk a situation where opponent kills a creature we target with Confront. So kind of a weird play. The other option was just targeting one of the opponent's creatures end of turn. That way if they did go for the Spikeshot Elder activation, oof, Reclamation Sage. Well, we got super punished now for playing Confront in our turn. Alright, probably should have just waited, since if we target one of the opponent's creatures with Confront end of turn, they could technically kill it with a burn spell, so we don't get the clue token, but this situation is probably just more likely. Alright, so we kind of threw away our Confront for no reason, but we're still not out of it yet. If we find a land, we're okay here. Instead, another Shape Anew. Still have a shot here. A spike shot, if you will. Could have also attacked with our Llanowar Elves for 3 thanks to Exalted, but we might want the Elf back as a blocker instead. And Spike Shot's gonna shoot down Elf. Alright, so we just need a land here and then we'll be okay. So we'll take 6, since we need our tracker. And there's our land, perfect. And my guess is fetching for a basic is better than tapping our Noble, since now we can chump block with it. So let's Shape Anew, make a Blightsteel, and hope to dodge one of their lords. So reveal Blightsteel Colossus, and put a counter on the tracker as well. And I think we just stay back with our tracker, no reason to attack here. We're winning with infect damage, or at least trying to. And next turn we could Shape Anew again for a second Blightsteel. It's not legendary, so that's something we could do. And our opponent's just gonna pack it in. They can't beat Blightsteel Colossus. Awesome, so got to steal a win with our transformational plan here. Sweet, I wanna thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this gameplay. And as always, have a nice day. I also want to thank all my patrons for supporting the channel, and you can do so yourself as well over at patreon.com/LegenVD, where you get cool rewards for supporting the channel, as well as getting us closer to our goals, where with every goal reached, we will release an additional weekly series. So if you want to see more content, Patreon is the place to go.